Okay, today we're going to be going over the order of operations, but we're going to be incorporating positive and negative numbers into our expressions. So you might want to go ahead and write down PEMDAS. So please excuse my dear, oops, that's supposed to be the Aunt Sally, to remind yourself of the different steps in the order of operations. So of course the P would be parentheses or a bracket. The E would be exponents. The M is multiply or divide from the left to the right. And the AS is add or subtract from the left to the right. So go ahead and write down on a sheet of paper this first problem that we have here. Now, as I've taught you, I like you to label your steps in order. So looking at this, do I have any parentheses? Yes, I do. But looking in that parentheses, it says -6. That's actually a -6. There is nothing I can do. I can't do anything with the 6 yet. So that's not actually a step. That's just a -6. So I have two steps here. I have my choice between subtraction and multiplication. So which one of those came first? The multiplication should be done first before the subtraction. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is 3 times -6. So thinking about what we did last week, we do 3 times 6, which is 18. But then if I have one positive and one negative, because the signs are different, I'm going to put a negative on the 18. So it's -18. So now let's take that 19 minus and put it on the front. So this is 19 minus -18. So if you remember from last week, anytime we take away a negative, we're actually doing something positive. See, it's like a little happy face there with its eyes closed. So we're actually going to make that into a plus sign. So then I've got 19 plus 18. And if you need to, go ahead and actually work that out. So 9 plus 8 is 17, and then this adds up to 3. So my answer is going to be 37. And that would actually be a positive 37. Okay, so I'm going to clean this up a bit, and then we're going to move on to our next problem. So if you want to go ahead and write down the next one here. Okay, so just like the other problem, first we want to label our steps. So do I have parentheses? Yes, I do. I have an addition problem inside my parentheses, so that's step 1. Now looking at the outside of the parentheses, there is no sign. So whatever happened in that parentheses, it happened 5 times. That's why there's a 5 on the outside. So anytime you're missing a sign, when you have a number next to a parentheses or bracket, you need to go ahead and put your times sign in there. So my second step is going to be to multiply by 5. So we're going to go ahead and do step 1. Now we've got to go back to what we learned last, I guess, Monday. It sure has been a while. So we've got a -6 and then a positive 5. So let's see, who won? Did team negative win or team positive? So the winner would have been team negative by 1 point. So remember, if the signs are different on these addition and subtraction problems, I'm getting the difference. So 6 minus 5 is 1. And the winning team was team negative, so that's going to be a -1. And I'm going to put that in parentheses just to remind me that that is not -1, that is -1. So now I've got to do 5 times that -1. So 5 times 1 is 5. And then remember, this is a positive because it doesn't have a sign, and this is a negative. Anytime in a multiplication or division problem that your signs are different, the answer is negative, because a negative and a positive make a negative on those signs there. Okay, so getting ready to go to the next one here. Okay, so looking at this next problem, do we have parentheses? No. Do we have exponents? No. Do we have multiplication or division? Yes. So this is going to be our first step, is our division. And then our second step is going to be our addition. So step 1, that 8 divided by 2, and that would be 4. And then I'm going to write down what is remaining here. So I still have -4 plus. So I still have -4 and that plus right there. So now I have -4 plus 4. So the two signs on those are different. So because they're different, we're going to subtract and get the difference. 4 minus 4 is 0, and 0 is neutral. It's neither positive nor negative, so we're just going to leave that alone there. Okay, so getting ready to set up your next problem here. Okay. So on this one, do we have parentheses? Yes, we do, but notice in the parentheses there is nothing to do. There would have to be two numbers in the parentheses in order to do something. So those are negative numbers, not minuses, but negative numbers. That's a -3 and a -5. So the only two choices I have are to multiply or to add. So first, I should multiply, and second, I should add. So the first thing I'm going to do is 11 times -3. So 11 times 3 gives me 33. But if I'm multiplying one positive and one negative, positive and negative make it negative. Because if we have two different signs when we're multiplying or dividing, the answer is negative. Okay, and so now I need to tack this part onto the end. So I've got plus and then a -5. I wish I could get that little box to go off that thing. There we go. Okay, so remember when we have two signs next to each other, one plus sign and one minus sign, or one minus sign and one minus sign, we have to condense it to one sign. So if I'm adding something negative, like I'm adding a bunch of trash, that is actually something negative. Okay, so this would become a negative. So now I've got -33 minus 5, or -33 -5. So now these both have the same sign. So since they're the same sign, they're going to go together. So 33 plus 5 is going to give me 38. And because that is a negative and a negative, that answer would be a total of -38. Okay, going on to our next one here. Okay, so we've got two choices. Our choices are the parentheses or this division on the outside of the parentheses. So first we're going to do the parentheses, then we're going to go to the division outside the parentheses. So 3 times 2 gives me 6. That would be a +6, but I don't really need a sign. And then I'm going to take this part and put it on the front there because I have not used it yet. So I've got 42 divided by, actually -42 divided by 6. So when it's multiplication and division, I cannot get that box to disappear. There it goes. When it is multiplication and division, you just go ahead and multiply or divide, and then you put your sign on it. So 42 divided by 6 is 7. This is a negative, and this 6 is actually a positive. So two different signs means we put a minus. So anytime the two signs on your numbers are different, when you multiply or divide, it's a negative. Okay, so moving on to our next one. Okay, so looking at this one, I've got two parentheses. So technically, you should do the parentheses on the left before the parentheses on the right. It might not yield a different answer, but you should always number them in order, because sometimes they'll ask you the order of solving, so you want to make sure you have those numbered correctly. And then in the middle, I see a times sign, and so that's going to be my third step. So step 1 is 18 minus 2. So that's going to give me 16. And then step 2, ooh, I see that negative in there. So automatically that's going to activate my brain that I need to think about my positive and negative rules. So when we're adding and subtracting, first we look to see if the signs are same or different. So they are different. That means I need to get the difference. So 4 minus 2 is 2. And then I need to decide if my answer is positive or negative. And since the -4 was the larger number, I'm going to go ahead and put a negative on that 2. So that's -2. Now, I've already done step 1. I've already done step 2. But what I have not done is multiplied. So I'm actually going to be multiplying the two answers that I just got. So 16 times -2. Now remember, when we multiply and divide, we're not dealing with the sign until the end. We're just going to go ahead and do 16 times 2. That's going to give me 32. And then I go back and look at my signs. And if they are different, the answer will be negative on the multiplication and division ones. Okay, let's see if we got any more problems. That's it for now. So you're going to be doing some practice exercises, and then for the grade today, I will sprinkle some of these in there. I will also sprinkle in some problems that do not have negative signs in there because I know it might be tricky for some of you. But good luck.